When you watch a piece of glass crack and splinter, you physically feel the passing of time. It is a one-way street of action. The event unfolds, and there is no going back. That sensation of flow is a biological construction. Your nervous system is constantly holding on to a trace of what just happened, reacting to what is hitting your senses right now, and predicting what is about to occur. Your brain stitches those inputs together to build a thick, continuous window of experience. But when we try to map that internal biological feeling onto the external physical world, we run into trouble. We usually picture time as a stage, a fixed timeline where a glowing, moving spotlight called the present slides along, turning the future into the past. Our lived experience of flow feels undeniably real. Yet the moment we try to explain it using that sliding spotlight over a timeline, we stumble into a devastating logical trap. In 1908, the philosopher J.M.E. McTaggart pointed out the fatal flaw in the timeline model. Take a single definite event, a baby's very first steps. Before it happens, we label the event as future. As it occurs, it is present. Afterwards, it is past. Here is the contradiction. Those three properties are mutually exclusive. A single event cannot logically possess all three statuses. The natural defense is to say, well, the event doesn't have all three at once, it has them at different times. It was future, is present, and will be past. That defense is exactly where McTaggart springs the trap. If you use time to explain how time moves, you need a second timeline to track the changes on the first, and you need a third timeline to track the second. It creates an infinite regress. Viewing time as a stage forces us into a corner. We either accept that our language about time is logical nonsense, or we retreat to a frozen, static universe where events simply sit in a sequence, and nothing ever truly comes into being. To escape McTaggart's paradox, we have to drop the metaphor entirely. Time is not a container that events sit inside, and there is no sliding spotlight moving across it. Instead, picture a global field of change. Think of it like a massive coastline. There is no predetermined line painted on the ocean. The coastline simply is the active meeting of land and sea, waves crashing, shifting sand, and eroding rock. There is no underlying timeline beneath the universe. The ongoing interactions themselves, molecules colliding, tectonic plates grinding, neurons firing, are the present. Now is not a magical property that lands on an event. It is the physical boundary where systems actually meet and write new facts into the world. If only this active surface of interactions actually exists, what physical reality do the past and the future have? The past is not a storage room sitting behind us. It consists entirely of physical records that have been written into the current active surface. Look at a cross-section of a tree. The concentric rings, the varying densities, the structural scars from old fires, those are not sitting in the past. They are present-day physical facts. They are current structures that directly encode earlier interactions. The future, similarly, is not a waiting area ahead of us. It is the set of unwritten potentials anchored in the current physical setup. A loaded spring, a fault line under immense stress, a chemical mixture ready to react. Past and future are our linguistic tools. We use them to categorize the stabilized records and the open possibilities that exist entirely within one single ongoing present. Let's look at the baby's first steps without the moving spotlight. Before it happens, the step is a real potential. Then the systems couple into an active interaction. The foot presses the floor. Once the coupling is over, it solidifies into a record. Neural pathways strengthen, and a photograph is saved. The paradox evaporates. The child's step never possessed a migrating property called presentness. Reality is simply driven by physical interactions creating physical records. This view of ongoing change aligns cleanly with modern physics. Relativity shows there is no single universe-wide now that everyone can agree on. The universe is one ongoing happening. Time is just the ledger we use to track changes. There is no single master cosmic clock. Billions of relative ledgers, from satellite instruments to human observers, are keeping their own score of the exact same global field. Which brings us right back to our biology. Your brain is one of those ledgers, constantly reacting to fresh light, sounds, and pressures. The human feeling of flow is simply your internal biological ledger updating in real time as you participate in the world. Time is not a stage. It is not a frozen block. It's an active field of interaction. One world constantly happening.